Hello basketball coaches and basketball players, my name is Alan from Al's Basketball Training, and today I'm going to talk to you about some amazing isolation basketball plays that you can run if you have a really good small forward on your team. Now, all of these plays are going to be going up against a man-to-man defense. From my experience, you will only really get successful isolation plays if you're playing against a man-to-man defense, so that's why I'm doing that today. Anyways, let's get down to the clipboard and let's check these out. Okay, so first what we're going to be having is player 2 setting a screen for player 1. Player 1 is going to use that screen, and we're going to be having player 4 doing a cut across the free throw line. It's going to be a high cut. Next, we're going to be having player 5 setting a screen for player 3, and we're going to be having player 3 using that screen, and he's going to be popping out towards that right wing. Now, of course, player 1 could have jacked that three-point shot. However, what we're looking to do here is isolate player 3, which is our small forward, out on that wing. Now, he could have an open three-point or mid-range shot if that was a nice, strong screen. We may also have had a switch, in which case player 3 needs to be driving that ball because, of course, that's a mismatch. But if player 3's man did somehow get through, player 5 is going to then clear out, and player 3 can either take that shot or he can do some kind of a move on player 3 to be able to drive and score very easily on him. Now, personally, I like to have player 4 setting a screen as well, and player 5 setting a staggered screen for player 2. Player 2 is going to cut down towards that low corner. The reason for this is if player 3 was to get stuck, let's say he drove and he got stuck, he can now kick it out to player 2 for a three-point shot. He is our safety, essentially speaking. Now, if you're running a horns offense with your team, this may be the play that you really want to use. Now, what we're going to be having is player 4 popping out, and we're going to be having player 5 setting a screen down for player 3. Player 3 is going to use that screen, and player 5 is going to roll off of that screen, cutting across the key. Now, of course, this could be a switch. Player 3 could be also wide open for a three-point shot as well. But if this is a switch, player 3 needs to be driving on that man quickly. Player 5 may also be open down the middle of the key as an option too. However, we are isolating against player 3. So let's say there was no switch, or even if there was a switch, doesn't matter. Where let's say we have player 3 out on the wing with that ball. We now have an isolation with player 3 to be able to drive middle, but personally I like to have him drive baseline because that gives him more opportunities. With him cutting or driving down the middle of the key, he has 4 players who could step out and play help defense. While if he cuts or drives baseline, he is able to get at least this secondary option and safety, which is player 5 setting a screen for player 2. Player 2 will use that screen, and he's going to pop down towards that low corner, where now if player 3 was to draw possibly a help defense double team, he could pass out to player 2 for a three-point shot. Or we could have player 2 cutting baseline as well as a secondary option for a layup. Let's say player 5 came over to play help defense. We can now have player 2 cut baseline, where this could be an easy pass for a layup. Okay, so those are 2 really great plays. I've got another one for you if you run a 3-2 offense or a 4-out offense as well. So stay tuned for those next 2 plays. These are absolutely fantastic. Let's get back down to the clipboard. Okay, so in this next play, we're going to be isolating player 3 out on this wing. So what's going to happen is player 5 and 4, they're going to be setting up a staggered screen for player 3. Player 3 is going to cut. Of course, if he's open, he could get that layup right there. However, he's going to be setting up that secondary screen with player 5. He's going to then pop out towards this wing. Player 2 is at this time setting a screen for player 1. Player 1 can beam out a pass out to player 3. This could be a quick shot. Or if player 3 got around quickly, player 5 is then going to be popping out towards the wing, the three-point line, because now we're going to be setting up the option for player 3 to cut or drive baseline or down the middle, and we're going to be having player 5 and 4 setting up a staggered screen for player 2 because we, of course, want player 2 as a backup option. If player 3 gets stuck behind the backboard, that could be a nice kick-out three-point shot. Okay, so this next play is a 4-out play, but we're playing the one player on the high post. So what we're going to be doing here is having player 5, he is going to be going up and setting a screen for player 2. Player 2 is going to be cutting across the key and popping out towards this wing. Now, when that happens, player 2 may be open for a layup. That's always an option. However, we're going to be having him pop out towards that wing, and we're going to have player 5 set a screen for player 1. Now, depending on where player 3 red is playing, instead of player 2 popping out towards the wing, we're now going to have him back screen player 3. Player 1 is going to use that screen. Player 3 is going to be cutting along the baseline. Now, he may be open for a layup right down underneath. He could pop out for a mid-range or a three-point shot. And now what we're going to be having is player 3 who could be wide open somewhere in that range to take a quick shot, or he can now go isolation against player 3 red. Now, as a backup option, I would have player 2, he's going to be setting a screen player for player 4 who's going to be popping down towards this wing, where if player 3 did get stuck behind the backboard, he can kick the ball out to player 4 for a three-point shot. Now, I hope that these plays help your team win more games and get your small forward scoring more points. Anyways, I'll see you guys again later on today for the second video of the day.